Since 1933, the government, your government, has been a friend of the farmer.
Farmers.
U.S. farmers.
America's farmers.
And I love them, and I'm never going to do anything to hurt our farmers.
Well, U.S. corn farmers are urging Congress to stop what they say could be a looming catastrophe. It all stems from a new proposal in Mexico banning U.S. imports of genetically modified corn.
Imagine this. You've spent months tending a vegetable patch in your backyard, watering, weeding, caring for every plant. But when you bring your produce to the market, folks turn away just because their tastes have changed. While you're explaining, but this is clean, homegrown stuff, your neighbor quietly sets up a stall, offers a friendlier price, and takes all the customers. That's pretty much what's happening with American corn right now. In a surprising shift, Mexico, the birthplace of corn, officially passed a constitutional change in February 2025 to ban the cultivation of genetically modified corn. At the same time, they still import nearly $5 billion worth of American corn each year, mostly GMO for livestock feed and industrial use. Back in late 2024, a USMCA dispute panel ruled that Mexico's attempt to ban GMO corn for human consumption violated trade rules and wasn't backed by science. Yet even with this ruling, Mexico went ahead with their decision to protect native corn varieties, though they still import about 90% of their corn from the U.S., most of it genetically modified. That shows their demand remains strong. This ban at home. Import from abroad approach means feed costs for Mexican livestock farmers might edge up. For instance, if a 25-kilogram bag of feed used to cost 10 Canadian dollars, it might now be 11 or 11.5 Canadian dollars. And when costs go up, smaller farmers often have to raise prices at the supermarket just to stay afloat, whether it's shrimp, pork, or chicken. Mexico's move is a bit of a balancing act, protecting local seeds from GMOs while also making a strong play in trade, one that's shaking U.S. corn's dominance just as Canada quietly moves in as a new export partner in the 2024 to 2025 crop year. The United States is set to export a record 2.75 billion bushels of corn, even without China as a top buyer. Mexico alone has ordered 17.2 million tons, about 678 million bushels, making up 36% of total exports, a big share, though still within the usual 5-year range of 77%. But even with solid demand, shipping has become the weak link. About 60% of U.S. corn headed for Mexico travels by rail, and 40% of that comes out of Illinois. That means any hiccups in transportation hit corn-producing states hard. In the first half of 2025, global container shipping dropped by 1% due to new trade policies. Reports have also noted persistent congestion at railways and ports, slowing down deliveries. If deliveries are delayed, the price of animal feed could increase by another 1 to 1.5 Canadian dollars for every 25-kilogram bag. That added cost can slowly show up in everyday products. For example, a carton of 12 eggs that used to cost 3.5 Canadian dollars might rise to 3.9 or even 4.1 Canadian dollars. For many families, that weekly grocery bill starts to creep up. In early 2025, global container shipping volumes dipped by roughly 1%, mostly due to trade tensions and policy changes from the U.S. That may sound small, but in agriculture where exports are crucial, it's enough to cause jams. And corn is right in the thick of it. News outlets have repeatedly highlighted rail and port delays between the United States and Mexico during the years 2024 to 2025. These slowdowns throw a wrench in the ag supply chain, keeping corn from getting to buyers on time. Even as the U.S. aims to hit that 2.75 billion bushel export target, the absence of China means Mexico has become the key customer, but also one more vulnerable to shipping or policy changes. American wheat exports are quietly vanishing from the world market, with over $700 million lost in just 6 months. What happens when a silent shift in global confidence reshapes the everyday reality for families and communities? In just 6 months, over $700 million in U.S. wheat value vanished, not from disasters, but from lost trust. Major buyers like the Philippines, Mexico, South Korea, France, and Italy quietly shifted orders to Canada. No protests, no disputes, just idle grain ships, overflowing silos, and in some cases, wheat burned in fields. As buyers disappeared, for everyday Americans, this silent export collapse hits hard. Farmers face uncertain futures, and rural communities see jobs, incomes, and small businesses vanish. The loss may not make headlines, but its impact is deeply felt. In towns where a missing overseas buyer means empty wallets at home. The issue goes beyond weather or price. Global buyers no longer trust the U.S. trade system's stability. Confusing customs, inconsistent paperwork, and fears of export bans are driving them away. In contrast, Canada offers a transparent, AI-driven system that tracks quality and coordinates logistics, documents, and insurance. Though U.S. wheat is cheaper, importers now pay more to avoid risk, seeing the system, not the wheat, as unreliable. Low prices no longer guarantee sales. For Americans, and this distrust erodes economic confidence. Farmers and shippers struggle to secure contracts and plan finances. As U.S. reliability fades, banks, suppliers, and rural businesses feel the strain. Stability, once the backbone of prosperity, is now just a memory. Canada has redefined global agricultural trade by delivering timely, standardized shipments with precise documentation. It has earned the trust of markets like the Philippines and the EU. Canadian wheat exports to the EU have risen 40%, with France and Italy shifting 45% of former U.S. orders to Canada. In Mexico, Canada built inspection and packaging centers to meet local import rules, pushing out U.S. wheat entirely. For American communities, this means lost opportunities and rising competition. Jobs, investment, and export-driven growth are shifting north, leaving once thriving towns facing uncertain futures as global buyers turn elsewhere. For many American farmers, the crisis is all-encompassing. Credit lines have tightened, loans for new equipment are denied, milling plants are closing and unsold, wheat stocks are piling up, the logistics network has been disrupted, rail routes canceled, silos left unmaintained, and planting plans for next season put on hold. The ripple effects go far beyond the farm. Banks are wary of lending, supply stores see dwindling sales, and entire communities question their economic futures. The trusted American agricultural brand, built over a century, is now overshadowed, not by poor product but by unpredictable policy and unreliable systems. As families reconsider their ties to farming, the foundation of rural America is being tested in ways not seen for generations. China's Huawei launches a groundbreaking personal computer, marking a pivotal shift from American tech giants while expanding its digital independence. Will a new era of self-sufficient technology redefine how global users connect and work? Huawei has launched the MateBook XP Pro, its first PC fully free of American technology, running Harmony OS Next, an operating system built entirely in China, without Windows, Android, or Google code. Unlike earlier prototypes, this is a commercial product. Windows share in China has dropped from 82% in 2020 to 72% in 2024, as demand for local alternatives grows. Huawei's challenge to Microsoft marks a shift toward digital sovereignty and reduced reliance on U.S. platforms. For American users, this signals a changing global tech landscape. As Harmony OS Next gains traction, U.S. firms may see declining influence, affecting jobs, innovation, and cross-border tech use. compatibility, collaboration, and data security across platforms could also become growing concerns. Harmony OS now runs on over 800 million devices, from phones and tablets to TVs, cars, and PCs. Its microkernel design boosts security, cuts RAM use by 29%, and starts up 32% faster than Windows 11. It's fast becoming central to China's digital infrastructure. Thousands of Chinese developers are working to grow the ecosystem and narrow the APP gap. As Harmony OS expands, Americans may encounter more products using it, affecting device compatibility, software choices, and app availability. This shift could create challenges in integrating foreign tech, prompting users to rethink their device preferences. Huawei's Harmony OS avoids US cloud platforms, relying instead on its super device network, which links Huawei smartphones, PCs, and tablets, transferring a 2 GB file in just 2.7 seconds. Already used by major Chinese banks and government agencies, Harmony OS is seen as a critical national asset. However, it runs exclusively on Huawei hardware, locking out non-Huawei users. This could deepen tech separation between the US and China. As Chinese systems grow more self-contained, American businesses, travelers, and tech workers may face challenges accessing data, collaborating, or using familiar software in China, reshaping international business and the global tech market. Huawei has invested $4.3 billion in chip development and operating systems, surpassing Xiaomi and Oppo combined. This bold move has drawn quiet scrutiny from US giants like Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, and Adobe. The key question: can China's sovereign OS reach nations under Western sanctions or those seeking alternatives to US tech? If so, it could disrupt the global tech landscape and spark both opportunities and uncertainties. If Harmony OS expands internationally, US firms may face tougher competition and shifting alliances. American consumers and businesses could see changes in pricing, product access, and data privacy. As global competition grows, more attention may turn to where and how devices are made.
Donald Trump addressed his controversial tariffs during that Oval Office appearance a short time ago. He made it clear that he's not concerned about cutting new trade deals, and that the tariffs he's proposing are likely the final word on the subject.
So if you're talking about 30% or 30% plus, there will be a huge impact on trade. It will be almost impossible to continue the trading as we are used in a transatlantic relationship.
That Italian coffee machine you've had your eye on, it might soon cost you an extra $60. Even your monthly medication could start creeping up in price. If the US really goes ahead with a 30% tariff on European goods, what will that mean for your wallet, your job, and your everyday spending? Starting August 1st, 2025, the US could raise import taxes on goods from the European Union to 30%, 3 times the current 10% rate. The EU warns this could seriously disrupt transatlantic trade, which makes up more than 30% of the world's goods and services. For American consumers, this will be felt most clearly at the grocery store and the pharmacy. A bottle of insulin from Germany that now costs $80 could jump to $100 or even $105, making a direct impact on monthly healthcare costs. Household items like Italian coffee machines, Bosch dishwashers, and European kitchen tools may also get more expensive. A $200 espresso machine could go up to $240 to $260 under the new tariff. States that rely more heavily on goods from Europe may see even bigger changes in prices and product availability, especially when it comes to medical devices, medication, and tech products. If the new tariff takes effect, everyday items people are used to buying could simply cost more. 2. Risk of supply chain disruptions. Every year, the U.S. imports $605 billion in goods from the EU and exports $370 billion in return, leaving a trade gap of $235 billion. The top products coming from Europe include medicine, cars, aircraft, machinery, and chemicals, many of which are essential if tariffs go up. A German car could cost an extra $5,000 to $7,000. Maintenance for medical equipment or factory machinery would also rise. For example, a French perfume that now costs $120 could go up to $150 or $160. A set of car parts priced at $800 might jump to $1,000, making annual car repairs noticeably more expensive. On the flip side, the U.S. has a $563 billion surplus in services with the EU, mainly from finance, tech, and telecommunication. If the EU responds with its own tariffs, American companies might lose clients, hurting wages, job security, and growth in these industries. The EU is now preparing a countermeasure package worth $84 billion, about 22% of what the U.S. exports to Europe each year. Previously, the EU had put a temporary hold on a $25 billion response targeting American steel, aluminum, and agriculture. If that plan is put into motion, U.S. products will face tougher times entering the European market, especially goods that are high in value and easy to replace. This could quickly hit workers and income in export-related industries. For instance, if you work in farming, technology, or metals, losing European contracts could mean lower earnings or fewer hours. A steelworker in Ohio could see quarterly bonuses cut by 10 to 15% if their company's exports take a hit due to higher tariffs overseas. Plus, when American goods get more expensive and lose their competitive edge, buyers in Europe may start looking elsewhere. That not only hurts exports but also drags down revenue, slows growth, and ultimately affects jobs here at home.